Right, so we are discuss about the recently this Tamil Nadu. Right, so recently we have seen that Tamil Nadu was in news because of what? Floods. Okay, so floods, and that also is associated with a dam which is located in the state of Kerala but controlled by Tamil Nadu. Okay, the dam is called as Mullaperiyar. So we have to understand relation between the Tamil Nadu floods, monsoon also, and Mullaperiyar. All of these are related to each other. So okay, if you look at first of all the overview. Okay, overview. So one reason why Tamil Nadu is witnessing flood is because of early onset of northeast monsoon as such. Okay, so for example, we know that in India, what do you have? Two types of monsoon you have. In the summer season, you have the monsoon winds coming from which direction? Southwest. This is responsible for almost 70 to 80% of rainfall that we receive in India. Then gradually from September onwards, what happens? You have the withdrawal of monsoon, and then during the winter month, if you look, the wind direction changes, and the monsoon is referred as what? Northeast, because direction of wind is from northeast to southwest. And in every other part of India, if you look, these monsoon winds will not cause rainfall because they are flowing from land to sea, so they do not have enough moisture. But about Tamil Nadu, if you look how monsoon winds are moving, here what do we have? Bay of Bengal. So these winds are carrying moisture, and these winds, when they enter the coast of Tamil Nadu, what they result in? Heavy rainfall from here. So the problem here is that first of all, southwest monsoon has not completely withdrawn, and already from the upper side northeast monsoon has set up earlier than expected. So it is receiving rainfall from both sides, and it is because of this reason what we are witnessing heavy rainfall in all the southern district of Tamil Nadu, because from this side you have southwest monsoon, okay, causing rainfall in Kerala, and then you have from that side northeast monsoon causing rainfall in Tamil Nadu as such. It is because of this region the major rivers that you have in Tamil Nadu, like Kaveri river, Vaigai river generally remains dry. Okay, but Vaigai river today, or if we talk about in recent times, we have seen surplus volume of water flowing here. In Kerala also we are seeing similar kind of situation. Periyar river is there. So Periyar river you have sufficient, much more higher volume of water flow, and it is because of this reason there is a possibility, and in many areas water level has increased to such an extent that the possibility of flood is being seen where? In the cities such as Chennai, right? Madurai is where Vaigai river is flowing through. So you have heavier rainfall, surplus water, flood like tendencies. Theni is from where Mullaperiyar dam supplies water to the Theni region of Tamil Nadu. Okay, agricultural heartland you have, we can say. So there also we are witnessing sufficient possibility of flood. Right, same thing we have discussed, early onset. Now why there is early onset? Any wind, okay, if you look at the concept also, we have discussed in classes that wind flow due to pressure difference. Which pressure to which pressure? High pressure to low pressure. So in Bay of Bengal, we have seen this year that low pressure area has developed before time itself, and that is why from the upper part, land part, what is happening? Winds are being, right, and it is because of this region what do we have? Bay of Bengal, depression means low pressure. So Bay of Bengal has low pressure, and both easterly westerly winds are interacting, and these all has confluence together to create heavier than expected rainfall. Now the question is that what is the role of Mullaperiyar dam as far as the flood is concerned? So first of all, if you look here, the location wise. So this is the border of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, right? Here what do we have? Mullaperiyar dam, and you have the Periyar river. Okay, so you have created an obstruction, that is why you have dam, okay, reservoir here. Now, though Mullaperiyar dam is in Kerala, as per the old treaty, okay, that is during the British time itself, the control over dam is exercised by Tamil Nadu. The water from this dam is largely taken where? Tamil Nadu as such. Okay, so if there is a heavier rainfall in this area, right, in Kerala, what will happen? Kerala will have no other option, or Tamil Nadu itself will have no other option but to open the dam gates, because if water level increases beyond a certain limit, it will cause overspilling, floods in the lower part of Kerala. It will cause even breakdown of the dam also, because it is very old dam. Okay, more than 100 years old dam you have. So that is why they have to open the gates. When they are opening the gates, all gates, 13 gates are there. They have to be opened. As they open the gates, what happened? Volume water increases, creating flood like conditions in this. So geography becomes very important because question is asked, and this also because it is a source of inter-state dispute. Why? Because Kerala says that dam is very old. That means it is prone to failure. If there is sufficiently high volume of rainfall in the Kerala, or if there is landslides and all this kind of activities in Kerala, what will happen? Dam will simply fail. So Tamil Nadu says that no, the dam will not fail because we have done investigation. They have brought their own team. They say the team has stated that dam can work at least for a couple of decades more as such. Why? Because they know that if they close the dam today, you have to construct new dams. That is only how they can carry water there. Dam construction is not a short term exercise. It will take many years. So what Tamil Nadu farmers will do? They'll have problem because this dam is a major supplier of water for irrigation in this particular areas, okay, of such. So government, Tamil Nadu government is thinking from perspective of their own vote bank, okay, that farmers will not give them vote because they will not think about science and technology and all this. They will simply say that last year we had water, this year we will not have water, it is your fault. Okay, so that is why Tamil Nadu government is not willing to scrap and destroy the dam. Okay, they want to wait and want to bring some alternative. Kerala says that we are having higher risk because if dam fails, Tamil Nadu will not be affected that much extent. Which will be affected? Which area? This entire area of Kerala, Idukki and all these regions that you have, Periyar Tiger Reserves and all these areas that you have. So that is the reason why you have interstate dispute, right? So that is the dam. So same thing we have discussed, Mullaperi Dam, Periyar River, you have Idukki Reservoir as such, managed by which state? Tamil Nadu as per 1886 lease agreement, okay, that they have signed. Full reservoir level is 142 feet, same thing. Safety concern is there, why? Because of how many years? More than 100 years, 125 years old dam that you have, interstate dispute, okay, that is the problem here. Clear? The same thing you have, okay. Basically what we are seeing, what is the rising risk of flood? Again, three factors. What? Early arrival of northeast monsoon, late withdrawal of southwest monsoon, and then you have the rising water level in the Mullaperiyar Dam that causes Tamil Nadu government to overall open the gate and causes more water to flow in the Vaigai river as such. What is the impact assessment? Same thing. Whenever you have floods, impact will be same. First impact will be felt where? On the people. What will happen? People cannot live in flood prone areas, so they will have to displace, move. So a lot of small towns and villages you have, they have to be evacuated. Second, what will happen? This is the agricultural heartland of Tamil Nadu. We talk about the eastern part. So there you will have losses in the cropland, farming. Why? Paddy, banana, sugarcane, all these plants and farmlands will get completely submerged if the rainfall happens, the flood happens. Plus you will have also what? Damage to the infrastructure, whatever railway networks you have, roadways you have, bridges, power supply, all this will be obstructed. Second is also, we are seeing that whenever you have flood, no matter whether it is a rural flood or urban flood, the one effect of flood is seen on the health of people also, especially if the flood is prolonged in nature. Why? Because in the flood water, dirty water, what do you have? You have seepage of sewage, okay, dirt, all these materials and all that. Due to this, there is a possibility of waterborne disease. Okay, the infected water of flood areas will gradually seep below the surface, will gradually enter where? Lakes, tanks that you have, and that water will be consumed by people, and that can lead to waterborne diseases such as cholera. Okay, you will have infections such as E. coli infection, B. coli infection and all that. Okay. Second, next what we will have, obviously you can link it, we will have economic slowdown that will impact what? Tourism, fisheries, okay, all these areas and all that. So overall we can say it will have multi-dimensional, okay, a multi-dimensional impact on the life of people in both of the states, whether it is Kerala or it is Tamil Nadu as such. Okay, so that is what we have to briefly understand, nothing much. Second news is related to the demand of sanctuary status for the forest of Saranda. Okay, so people or environmentalists we can say in the Jharkhand is the region area. So in the Jharkhand, people have begun to ask or demand for a sanctuary status or protected area status for a forest called as Saranda. So Saranda is a forest located where? In the West Singhbhum. Okay, if you look at the map. So this is the map. If you look at India, this is the state of Jharkhand, right? Earlier it was a combined state of Bihar. So Bihar split it into Bihar and Jharkhand. So this is the southern part is Jharkhand, and in Jharkhand you have the capital that is Ranchi. So somewhere in the southern part of Jharkhand here, this patch of the forest that you see is what we call as Saranda forest. Okay, so Saranda forest, this is the area which is in news. So this is the forest about which the local people are demanding that it should be granted what kind of status? Sanctuary. Okay, that is wildlife sanctuary, kind of protected area status, so that the human interference can be minimized here. If anything is declared as wildlife sanctuary, mining cannot occur. Okay, any kind of exploration will not happen, industrialization will not happen, and all that. That is the demand here. For this matter, they have put a petition in the Supreme Court in the same year, recent time, as you have discussed. And overall, the entire issue, what is Supreme Court talking about? That whether we have to focus on conservation of this forest or whether we should allow mining to continue in the forest, because it is again an age-old debate that never seems to come to an end. What is the debate? Development versus conservation, right? Development, economic development, conservation of the ecosystem, forest, animal, wildlife, all these things we can say. And core area of this forest is about 820 square kilometer. Within that, about 100 square kilometers area which is most threatened in nature as such, right? That is the first point. Now, the map already have discussed Saranda forest. That is how any prelims question can be asked. Whatever places in news, if you look at the previous year prelims question, they many times ask match the following: this place, this area, this place, this area, whether it is correctly match or incorrectly match. So they can ask like this: Saranda forest recently was in news, eastern part of India, southern part of India, western part of India, right? That how. So Jharkhand, that is just we have to keep in mind here. Region is Singhbhum. Singhbhum again is important because mineral heartland of India it is referred as. It is part of the Chota Nagpur plateau. Okay, so Chota Nagpur plateau, Singhbhum Craton, one of the oldest rock structure or landmass of India. Several rivers are flowing through it. None of these rivers are important one. So Koina, Karo, Sanjay, these are very small river. And then what kind of forest? If you look at from the climate perspective, this entire Saranda forest is made up of which kind of forest? Or is example of which kind of forest? Tropical, moist, deciduous forest. Later in natural vegetation we will talk about different types of forest. Total in India we have 13 types of major forest. One of those type is tropical, moist, deciduous. Tropical means in the tropical zone. If you look, tropical cancer is passing in that area. That is why tropical. Moist means it has neither very high rainfall. If there is high rainfall, we call it wet forest. If low rainfall, dry forest. Here what do we have? Moderate rainfall, neither very high nor very low. Somewhere between 100 centimeter to 200 centimeters of annual rainfall you record here. That is why we call it moist. Deciduous forest means when the trees are shedding leaves every year. In the time autumn month, what do you see? Trees start to lose their leaves. So that is what you call as deciduous. If suppose trees are not losing their leaves every year, what do you call those forests as? Evergreen. Okay, so as opposed to evergreen, what kind of forest it is? Deciduous. Why deciduous? Because you do not have surplus or heavy rainfall. Tropical areas, tropical, moist, deciduous. And here again same thing, coordinates again not required. Okay, you do not have to remember this. Adjacent areas also people are emboldened because if you look around Saranda, in the Odisha if you go, what do we have? Simlipal and Bonai, both of these have been declared as a protected areas. These are tiger reserves as such. So they say that same right or same status should be extended where? To the nearby state of Saranda also. So this Simlipal reserves are acting as a template or an example for people to demand the status of protected area. Now why protection? Because the forest obviously have certain sort of ecological significance. So first of all, Saranda name, if you look, what does Saranda mean? In the local language it means the land of 700 hills. Okay, now it does not mean that actually there are 700 hills. People call them like Lakshadweep for example. Laksh means what? Lakh. Lakh means 100,000. How many islands do you have in Lakshadweep? 36. So in old age people everywhere when they see, they're seeing that there is island everywhere. They did not go and count because there was lack of transportation and communication. So they thought that must be lakhs of islands. Similarly here people thought there must be hundreds of hills. So that is why 700. Actually there is only 2 to 3 hills in these areas. So that is the point here. Right, because people define everything from their own perspective. Okay, so tribals are living there. Every time they look around themselves, what they see? Hills, hills, hills. So they are the hundreds of hills are there. Right. Then the tree that you have here is in tropical moist deciduous, two type of tree you will find dominantly, sal tree and teak tree. In this case, it is dominated by sal tree. That is the common tree you will find across the entire area of Odisha, Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh, for example, you have Dandakar and Bastar, all these areas. They are densely populated by sal trees. And this is also the area where you have the Naxal activities you see dominate here. So sal dominant canopy. Also from the animal perspective, this is the area that is being used by elephant to transit from one region to other region. What do you call these areas as? Elephant corridor. Elephant corridor means it is a kind of continuous tract of forest which is used by animals or elephants to wander, to search, to roam in the search of food, water and all these things. So you start from where? Chhattisgarh in the south, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, then further Jharkhand, and then further you have West Bengal, if you say. West Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh. These are a kind of continuous patch of forest land used by elephants to roam around. That is why we define it as what? Elephant corridor. Now suppose you start exploring these areas, start mining these areas. Obviously what will happen as a result of mining? The forest will get destroyed. If forest will get destroyed, what will happen? There will be gap between the forest, and thus the elephant that had a large habitat to roam earlier, they will be bound to what? Move in only a small part of forest. If the habitat zone reduces, habitat area reduces, what will happen? The population of elephant will also reduce because they have less food and water available, right? What will also happen? Man, animal or human elephant conflict will rise, because if elephants cannot find their food and water in the forest, where they will go? In the agricultural areas, okay, in the villages and all that. So next point is, it is also a biodiversity hotspot because it hosts large variety of flora and fauna. Plus, okay, this is true for every forest, that we can write for Saranda also. It has high soil carbon sequestration value. Whatever carbon dioxide you release in the atmosphere, who is capturing it back? It is the forest during the time of, or during the process of photosynthesis. So anywhere you are cutting the forest, what you are doing? You are allowing carbon to remain in the atmosphere, and whatever carbon that you have in the forest contained, when you cut the forest, what will do? You will use it somewhere. So this carbon again will be released gradually. That is the point. Now what is the interest here of the government? Why government is not willing to provide protected status to this area? It is because of what pressure? Mining and industrial pressure. Why? Because I told you this is the mineral heartland of India. So you have several different resources, like for example bauxite, like for example iron ore. So these are the places like Kiribaru, right, Goa, Meghahatuburu. These are the areas from where majority of iron ore is obtained from the steel companies that are operating here. Okay, if you talk about India, steel companies are largely located in 4 states: Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha and West Bengal. And a lot of these companies such as Sale Steel, Tata Steel, they are obtaining their raw material from the Saranda forest area. Once they declare it as a protected area, what will happen? Mining will have to come to a complete halt as such, right? On the other hand, if you look at from environment perspective, continuous mining has led to what? Deforestation, soil erosion, plus groundwater will get depleted as such. Pollution, that is also because of the industrial activities. So particulate matter, heavy metals, this we are seeing contaminating the air as well. So when you are talking about in mains examination, right, what do you have to write? Both kind of approach. What is the mining, what you can call as importance or significance from mining perspective, economic development perspective, and why we should create some sort of restriction here? Because it is endangering and threatening our environment as such. Clear? So that's the mining and industrial pressure is not allowing government to declare it as a state forest conservation. Now Forest Conservation Act, this is not something that the issue, this is not that issue is raised for the first time. Issue was earlier raised to the National Green Tribunal. Okay, now National Green Tribunal, that is also called as Environmental Code, it has clearly asked the state government to declare this area as what? Protected area. But state government has not followed the order. They have defied the order of NGT, and that is why now the matter is sent where? To the Supreme Court as such. Okay, so in this case, if you talk about legal dimensions, NGT has taken the help of which act? Forest Conservation Act, Wildlife Protection Act. So they have said that these acts are applied here because this area is forested area, it supports huge number of biodiversity, and you have the flora and fauna and all that. And that is why EIA notification was issued, that is environmental impact assessment notification. To what extent environment is getting impacted there? There also we are seeing violations by the industries and mining companies being done here. Okay, again same thing. What is the debate? At the end, debate is versus development versus conservation as such. Okay, so that's the point here. That is the second topic. Third topic is related to, in the recent time also it is relevant because in the Diwali, what was the controversy? That suddenly the AQI level, air quality index level has shot up in Delhi, it has reached more than 500. Okay, generally it should be less than 50 to 80. So 10 times more pollution than recommended by WHO. So one of the culprit every year that is believed to be behind the worsening air quality of Delhi is stubble burning in Punjab. Stubble, you understand what is a stubble? When you harvest the crop, cut the crop, what do you have? What you are left with? The remaining stalks of the crop, and that is what is burned, so that again after burning farmers can put new seeds and can again do refarming. Okay, so that is why stubble burning is done. So this year Punjab government, especially under the AAP administration, they had claimed that now this particular problem that has been there for many years, it seems to be what? Declining. This is what you are talking about, that whether it is really declining or it is just the data are showing some different picture. So first of all, what they have claimed, that if you compare year 2023, 24, 25, in last 3 consecutive years, what they have showed is that if you look at the major area like Amritsar, Ludhiana, these areas, Hoshiarpur is where the stock burning is done. We have seen area on area basis, year on year basis decline by how much percentage? 33%. Okay, so that is what is the claim of the Amritsar, AAP government. On the other hand, this counter claim is being made by other agencies, other political parties, that if you look at the October 26, 2025 itself, if you look at all 3 years, 23, 24, 25, what we have seen? Highest number of single day fire. So basically it is nothing but a kind of political tussle. AAP is trying to claim that we have reduced the stubble burning, other party is saying that you are just manipulating the data. It is not the case as such. Understood what AAP is saying, that 23, 24, 25 has seen least number of stock burning or stubble burning. What is the other part is saying, that on the other hand October 26, 2025 you have the highest number of single day fire as such. So that is the issue. Historical fall, however, many scholars or independent groups we can say, they have said that it is actually seen, because 36,000 cases of fire were reported in year 2023. This year we have seen only how much? 10,000 cases. So that is how we are talking about that. Overall the reason is because earlier harvesting used to, okay, like for example other parties, how other parties are countering it. They are saying that this is just a preliminary data. Why? Because by October 2026 you are giving data here that stubble burning has reduced, but stubble burning only happens when harvesting is complete. If you look at the harvesting data, only 58% of harvest is completed. That means in the future what will happen? As 44% of remaining area is harvested, there also what we will see? Stubble burning. That means this you are claiming the number of cases in the next coming weeks, it is going to shoot up. So the other parties are saying that this is not true. You are just saying that it is declined because you are just taking into consideration how much percentage of harvested area? 58%. Let data come. Let 100% harvest be done. After that, you can talk about that whether the incidence of stubble burning has really decreased or not as such. So that is the point, and you can understand this is also because of the Delhi issue and all that, because in Delhi everyone is saying pollution level is high. At the same time in the Punjab people are saying, government is saying that we have reduced stubble burning. So it is nothing but kind of political debate we have. Mapping geographical facts, if you have to understand what are the areas where you have majority of stubble burning. So Tarn Taran, Amritsar, Sangrur, Firozpur, these are the areas where rice cultivation, okay, paddy cultivation is carried out. So when the rice is harvested, stubble of rice is burned as such. Okay, overall Delhi pollution we are seeing. So that's the thing. Now AAP government, you talk about why they are saying that the stubble burning has, again it is claimed, okay, why stubble burning has decreased. They have given causes. So first they have stated that government was not able to enforce and penalize farmers because they have lack of data. Now what we have relied on? We have relied on satellite based alert system, okay, depending on where the smoke is coming from, where fire is being seen and all that. So enforcement has increased. Not only that, earlier even when the government had the information and knowledge that here stubble burning is being conducted by farmers, they were not willing to take strict action because they were fearful of losing the votes of farmers. Now AAP government is saying that they have ensured strict enforcement of not burning stubbles. How? By FIRs. How? By penalizing those farmers who are involved in this. Okay, so strict enforcement you have there. Third, they also stated that not only farmers are not burning because of the fear of penalty, they are also not burning because they have alternate system now. So we have subsidized the machinery distribution. Okay, so machinery distribution, it removes the entire stock and all that, right? So due to this, what will happen? Farmers will not have any interest as such. So awareness meeting and all these things have been conducted, plus weather and delayed harvest window also other government is saying might have caused a decline in the overall harvest. That is why they are saying that we have to wait few more weeks before we can come to data. Now there is persistent concerns that we have seen from the Punjab, because if you look at the Punjab, okay, like suppose this is Punjab, and if a stubble is being burned here, now it is not that only Punjab or Haryana region will be affected. When the smoke is emitted due to the movement of winds, what happened? Winds are traveling everywhere, and stubble burning is at the time when the southwest monsoon is retreating. northeast monsoon is re-establishing. So during this time you have both winds. Sometimes these winds become stronger, sometimes these winds become stronger. So the smoke is thrown where or sent where? In the eastern part, such as Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and all that. Also it is sent where? In the western part. So western part, what you have? Rajasthan, further you have Pakistan and all that. So recently you would have seen Pakistan people are sprinkling this water on the roads and all that, because they are claiming that from India, okay, a lot of smoke and this polluted air is coming like that. So that is because of both winds. You have to understand from geography perspective how it is happening, because Delhi also is witnessing pollution, Pakistan also is witnessing pollution. Why? Because it is a timing. October is a time when we have southwest monsoon winds also and northeast monsoon winds also. So based on which wind is stronger, smoke will be pushed in that particular direction as such. So in the peak harvest time, you obviously see spikes of such kind of incidents. Again, what is the topic of discussion here? If the question is asked, someone asks you in general discussion also, that do you think really the decline has been witnessed in the stubble burning in Punjab? What should be your answer? You should be answering it on the basis of data as such. So if you say that look at the current data, based on the recent data, yes, there is a decline. But we cannot say there is a decline on year basis unless and until the entire 100% of farmland is what? Harvested. Why? Because early data can be misleading in nature. Okay, that is how we talk about. Low mechanization in marginal farmers, that also is the case because majority of farmers in India are which kind of farmers? Small and marginal farmers. That means they have very small parcel of land. They have very less input or capital, we can say. That means even if the farm equipments are subsidized, they are not able to use it. If they are not able to use machines, that means they have depend on the traditional method of burning the stock itself. That is the problem. Like burning has shifted to late season also, plus there is a definition, ambiguity in the definition also. Okay, so that is something that we have to think here. What is the environment health impact? This is something that you can understand. If the crop is being burned, what will happen? Lot of particulate matter, especially small sized PM 2.5. We have discussed in atmosphere, you have particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10. So PM 2.5 will rise in Delhi region because it is closer. Because of this, what will happen? Health impact that we have seen because of the pollution, high pollution, respiratory diseases is on rise, eye irritation also we are seeing here. Okay, plus what will happen if you are burning the crops? What happens? Soil nutrition also is depleted. Okay, then we have forest edge ecosystem damage we are seeing, plus regional climate warming effect, global warming. What is the result of this reason behind global warming? Emission of greenhouse gases, right? So if you talk about rice, paddy, they have large amount of methane. So when you're burning it, what you're doing? Carbon dioxide obviously you're releasing, but at the same time you're also releasing another potent greenhouse gas, that is which gas? Methane gas. So these are how we can explain the environmental and health impact. Hills we can say, because both thing is there. Okay, if we talk about Punjab and Delhi, what do you have? Himalayas. Okay, so whatever you have the smoke that is released here, they do not have any other place to go as such. Plus at the same time it is winter months, so wind is kind of what? Vertical motion is of which kind of motion? Sinking. So what do they do? They ensure that all the matter, particulate matter remains closer to the surface itself. So both presence of hills as well as the downward sinking or downward movement of wind, we can say, is responsible for it. What are the actions that is taken? So first of all, okay, CAQM zero tolerance directive, that is nothing but government has stated, state government has stated that they are not tolerating any kind of stubble burning. Whoever is involved here, they are being highly penalized and all that. Second, Punjab has targeted that in this year there should be at least how much percentage of reduction? 85% reduction as compared to year 2024 as such, right? For this they have come up with a scheme called as crop residue management schemes and all that. Legal tools same, FIR, okay, satellite monitoring integration that we have discussed already is being done here. Okay, so the problem is of enforcement. Policies we have a lot, okay, programs and schemes we have a lot, but the problem is about implementation. So to what extent government is able to implement, that is what we have to see here. What is the challenges and way forward? So first of all we have discussed same thing. Machine, Punjab government is saying they are providing machines. Problem is it is the cost. Even after subsidy, cost remains very high, and that is why what happens? Uptake, that means its use by farmers remain relatively less in nature. right? Plus other alternatives, what do you have? You can use this stock for generation of biogas, you can use it in the energy plant, but only when you develop these infrastructures, people will come to procure these from farmers. Unless and until there is no procurement of crop stock from the farmers, they have no other option but to burn it. That is the low cost option they have only, right? That is the problem. So there is a demand of what? Incentive based alternatives. Farmers should not be penalized, rather government should focus on providing them incentive. That means by willingness or by their own willingness, they should be not involved in stubble warning and all that. Okay, and again for this you cannot do in only one state, because farming is not only taking place in Punjab, farming also occurs where? Haryana, on the outskirts of Delhi. So even if one area you are enforcing the rules and all, if other areas are not following it, what will happen? Situation will remain same. So there is a demand of regional coordination. That means all the three state governments from Punjab, Haryana and Delhi should come together to tackle this issue collectively as such. Okay, but again that becomes challenging. Why? Because in all these three states or other states, what do you have? You have different political parties. Okay, so there is different political parties, there is issue in coordination and cooperation as such. Okay, that is the thing. So Delhi next is Delhi Declaration 2025. That is again very simple topic, local action for global climate goals. That is the, you can say, slogan of the Delhi Declaration. In the early part of year 2025, Delhi Declaration was issued. Delhi Declaration, okay, the slogan we can say given was local action for global climate goals. Climate change is not a local phenomenon. It is taking place where? In the entire world. But you cannot take measures at the same time in the entire world. We have to take what? Measures at a local level. So we should take local action at the state basis, at the district basis, at the national basis, for what? For fulfilling our goals at a global level as such. Okay, like Paris Agreement, we have declared the goal that we should restrict the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius by year 2100 as such. Okay, so that is the point. Now again briefly, if you look at the facts, when did Delhi Declaration come into existence? So there was a meeting called as Arise Cities Forum that took place when? In the 8th-9th October 2025. It is at the summit, in this particular meeting is when the Delhi Declaration was passed. Where this meeting occurred? New Delhi, India as such. Who was the organization? Host organization. It was organized by National Institute of Urban Affairs. So in prelims, this is how questions are asked. That recently Delhi Declaration was seen in news. Which of the organization is associated with Delhi Declaration? Okay, or whichever summit has led to the finalization or outcome of Delhi Declaration. Which summit? Arise Cities Forum Summit. Which organization? NIUA, National Institute of Urban Affairs. Now this is data not important. Participation was of 60 cities, 25 countries and all that. So it is in this particular summit, Arise City Forum, Delhi Declaration was adopted as such. Now why Delhi Declaration is coming in news? Because recently we are going this in the recent in few, I think when between 20 to 21 November we are going to have another meeting of Conference of Parties, 30th session of Conference of Party, that is going to take place where? In the Belém in Brazil. COP meeting is very important. Make sure this is not from geography perspective or from environment perspective. Whenever there is a significant COP meeting, question largely is asked about it. So Conference of Parties, 30th session of meeting, where it is taking place? Belém in Brazil. Now here match the following questions can be asked. That COP, first COP meeting, which city? Or recent 2-3 COPs they can ask. Yeah, that where we have the recent meeting. Or those COPs can be asked where you have very significant outcomes as such, especially from the perspective of India and all that. So when you go through the list of the Conference of Parties, make sure that you revise those. Okay, remember those. Now under the Delhi Declaration, what are the commitments we have made? The cities of India, states of India. So first of all, they have said that we will enhance. What will enhance? Multi-level, nationally determined contribution. Right? When you talk about Paris Summit, COP15, when we have Paris Agreement. So in Paris Agreement, every country agreed that they will contribute in what? Tackling the climate change. For that they will have contribution. Those contribution which are determined by themselves is called as what? NDC, nationally determined contribution. India also has declared many things that they will do to ensure that they are fighting climate change and all that. So we have to enhance multi-level NDCs. That means it is now saying that it should not be only done at the national level. Like India has said that we will do something like that. Okay, we will ensure that our greenhouse gas emission intensity is reduced. Now India is something that you cannot do at one place, at Delhi for example. Every state and major cities will have to join hands together. So in that, what it means that major cities and major state of India should come up with their own what? Contribution, that how they will contribute to the ensuring that India will be able to fulfill its contribution as such. Second, what do we have? We have to ensure urban resilience. That means urban areas, they are able to develop resilient infrastructure so that they can adapt and overall can minimize the impact of climate change as such. Okay, so urban resilience. Third is transition is something that we are witnessing. For example, even in the vehicle segment, what you are seeing? From diesel and petrol based vehicle, we are now what? Producing more and more electrical vehicles. This is referred to what? Green transition. So the green transition should be of what nature? Just in nature. We should ensure what? Equity. That means everyone is provided opportunity as such. It means it should be of what nature? Inclusive in nature as such. Okay, so that is the third point. Fourth is we have to empower community. Community means women, youth, and the village level we have Panchayati Raj institutions. At urban areas, what do you have? Urban local bodies and all that. So they should be empowered to take action to fight against the climate change and all that. And last, which is the most important and a sticky point also of many of the conferences, is the climate finance. In climate finance, if you think, the developing countries, what do they say? You have two groups, developed countries and developing countries. Developed countries have begun industrialization long time ago. That means developing country states that who is primarily responsible for climate change? It is the developed countries. That means they should share higher burden as far as the climate change measures are concerned. How they will share heavy burden, higher burden? So for the developing countries, for least developed countries, they should provide finance. That means these countries should not be burdened with economic development and all that, right? So that is what we are talking about, climate finance. So direct access, that means direct funds should be provided, especially by identifying those cities which are most vulnerable to climate change. What can be example? You can give example of small island nations. Why? Because small island nations will be prone to flooding, will be prone to loss of land. Why? Because one of the major impact of climate change is rise of sea level. That means these small island nations should not be left on their own. It is the responsibility of developed countries that they should provide them direct finance. So they should take measures to prevent the effect of climate or to minimize the effect or impact of climate change as such, right? That is the thing. And overall, this also is a declaration that highlights what? Global South leadership. Okay, because largely it was meeting of developing countries, and as we know that India recently has, in the recent times, has taken the what? Leadership role of Global South. Okay, so all the developing countries, we can say majority of them have come here. What is the significance for India and urban governance? So first of all, why we are talking about this at the city level? If you go back 3-4 decades, India was largely a country of villages. Now what is happening? Rapid urbanization. Okay, so more than 35% of your population is living where? In the urban areas. Every year, if you look, India is adding how many urban residents? Roughly 10 million urban residents. And it is because of this you have to take into consideration and account urban population growth, and that is why you need to have what? A proper adequate urban governance to minimize the impact of climate change. Second, if you look at why urban areas? Again, because if you look at the greenhouse gas emission, where it is taking place? Urban areas. That is where you have industries, that is where you have vehicles, that is where you have construction activity going on and all that, right? So more than 70% of global CO2 emission, if you look, it is coming from which areas? Urban areas. That means if you do not take into account urban areas, you cannot have a proper or adequate climate change addressal measures as such. Third, India also has many missions which it has included, like national mission for the smart cities, you have smart cities mission and all that. Okay, this CSEF that you have. Plus, what is the need? Need for locally determined climate actions also. That is why urban areas have taken into account, and that is why we are looking at governance not at a state level or national level. We are looking at governance at what level? City level. Okay, urban local bodies are being empowered here in many of the countries. So same thing. Okay, global south and all that. That is how significance we have for India as such. Plus cooperation and monitoring is required. South-South cooperation we can talk about. And again, the problem is not only coming up with nationally determined contribution. It is also about what? Developing proper MRV mechanism. That means suppose India states that they will reduce emission intensity by 30%. Now how will you say that we have reduced it? What you need to have? Monitoring, reporting and verification. Right? Monitoring for what? Reporting, for monitoring for checking that how we have reduced, to what extent we have reduced. Reporting means preparing report. Verification means you need to have also independent verification. Otherwise some countries, some city will say that yes, we have reduced it. Actually, it is not the case. So independent verification is very important. So MRV mechanism is something that is highlighted in this particular mission as such. Okay. The last was United Nations Global Geospatial Information Management, called as UNGGMIM. UN Global Geospatial Information Management. Now what is geospatial information? Geography plus space, right? So when talk about geography, what do we look at in the geography? So first is understanding of a map. Okay, a map means what we are looking at, the nature of terrain, for example. What we are looking at apart from terrain, we are looking at, for example, this elevation. How high is it from the sea level? We are looking at what? The extent of water availability. Okay, so terrain, elevation, water availability, these are what we look generally in the map as such. So this is part of geography. Now in the spatial data, we also add data from several other instrument, and the biggest one, the major one is which one? Data from satellite as such. Satellite data gives us understanding about the changes taking place. Okay, like forest cover you have in certain areas. So how you know that forest cover is increasing or decreasing? You take help of satellite data. You have water, what you can call as the sources of water such as lakes, tanks, river. How will you understand that rivers are shrinking, lakes are shrinking or not? What do you look at? Satellite data. So this entire information, a comprehensive information about any particular area that you have, that is because of overlap of multiple different factors. Collectively what we call as geospatial information as such. So UN ensures there is some sort of management of geospatial information, and that is done by which agency? That is dedicated agency of UN called as UNGGIM. Now why we are talking about it? Because India has taken right. So first of all, if you look at the background, okay, of UNGGIM, when was it established? Year was 2011. So in 2011, okay, the UNGGIM works under another organization of UN called as ECOSOC. This is an organization you would have heard about, United Nations Economic and Social Council, which has regional grouping, like in Social Council of Asia Pacific example have, Africa you have, Europe you have. So UN Economic and Social Council, it is the organization that oversees the working and functioning of UNGGIM. Now what is the main aim of this organization? Same thing as clear from the name itself. What they are trying to do? Coordinate global geospatial information management. Why there is need of coordination? You think from the perspective of the entire globe. Okay, let us talk about climate change itself. That is just we have discussed. Okay, so we are talking about climate change. Now what can address climate change? One thing you can definitely say that can help us in fighting with climate change is what? Afforestation. Afforestation means you are bringing more and more areas under forest cover. So in certain countries you are bringing more area under forest cover, like Trinidad and Tobago we have discussed about, Panama we have discussed about, but in certain countries you are removing the forest cover. So you need to have a comprehensive picture at the global scale, that overall if you talk about entire world, forest cover is increasing or decreasing. For that what you require? The comprehensive geospatial information. That is only possible if countries are coordinating together and they are publishing a synthetic data. And if you think UNGGIM is under ECOSOC, ECOSOC is covering different regions of the world. So UNGGIM from different countries are reporting to ECOSOC. ECOSOC then is comprehensive, collecting the data and then synthesizing data at what level? At the entire global level, and that is how at the global scale you have understanding of the changes in the geography. Decline of forest cover, decline of water reservoirs and everything like that. That is why it is important. Again secretariat again is what? It is related to data collection. So which division or which secretariat of UN covers it? UN Statistic Division as such. Okay, so that is the other point. Overall, it is also important because UNGGIM, its work has been linked to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We know that UN in year 2015 came up with a goal. These goals are collectively called as what? Sustainable Development Goals. And UN has given every country a target, and these target has to be achieved by what year? 2030. And again, to ensure that these targets are achieved, who will play a major role? UNGGIM as such. Okay, so that is the point. India has been active member of GGIM for a long period of time. It has also hosted the second high level forum meeting in 2012. And why we are talking about it now? Because India has taken the responsibility of what? Being the what you call chairperson or chair country for this particular this GGIM. For how many years? 2 years. So membership of Asia keeps on rotating. India has taken the chairmanship for 2 years. That means 2026, 25 to 26, then 26 to 27. In 28, some other countries from Asia will be member of GGIM, of Asian countries. Now, if you look at the objective mandate, again same. It has to develop what? Global geospatial framework. Okay, that means in what way we can coordinate and cooperate as far as the data collection is concerned as such. Second, it has to support what? Data driven policy making. Understand, it is very important everywhere. Policy making is of two types. One is something that is called as emotion based or generalization based, and second is what we call as evidence based. So GGIM focuses on which kind of policy making? Evidence based. We can have only policy related to afforestation if deforestation is a problem. If country is already having very large area under forest cover, do we need any kind of afforestation policy there? No. Right? Why? Because data suggests something different as such. If a country is claiming that no, deforestation is not our problem or it is not seen in our territory, but data from satellite is showing some different image, that means UN will force those country or will encourage those country to bring what kind of data, what kind of policy? Policy that promotes afforestation. Okay, so that is why data become very important factor here. Promoting interoperability and ensure that all countries, when they are measuring data, when they are calculating data, they should follow a same standard as such. Okay, example I can give you, like how you define forest area. Different countries have different definition of forest area, and this you see in India also. Like we talk about Lakshadweep. Okay, Lakshadweep we talk about. What is the forest area in Lakshadweep? As per Government of India, it has 0% forest area. What is the forest cover from UN perspective? More than 95%, right? So if Indian government is declaring Lakshadweep as having 0% forest area, will forest policy apply here? No, because forest area is not present there, right? But for conservation of forest, what you require? Enforcement of forest policy. That is the problem. So that is why UN is encouraging countries to come up with what? Same set of standard, use similar way of measurement and definition so that all countries can cooperate and coordinate. Encourage open geospatial data sharing. That means countries need to be open to share their data with other countries, and especially in developing countries because they do not have technical scientific capability. Okay, like for example, India has a lot of satellites that is able to give its information. Other smaller countries do not have satellite. If they do not have satellite, they have very limited information about the changes taking place in their geography, especially in the last few decades and all that. That means what this particular organization also focuses upon? Building capacity. How it can ensure it? By providing funds. How it can ensure it? By ensuring that other countries, bigger countries, developed countries should be able to provide them also information, right? Because satellite, when it is moving, it is not only taking data from one place, it might also be looking at data from other countries. That data can be shared to those countries as well. Right. Overall, GGIM has different reasons. Again, no need to remember, but we can understand. GGIM is working for Asia Pacific. India is member of which group? Asia Pacific. That means India has become chairman of which GGIM? UN GGIM of Asia Pacific. Similarly, you have 4 Arabian countries, you have 4 African countries, for Americas, North, South, Central America, and then from Europe as together as such. Okay, same thing you have, nothing new. Okay, global initiative. Now, geospatial mapping in India we talk about. How do we ensure geospatial mapping in India? We have lot of platforms and program. For example, ISRO has Bhuvan program. Bhuvan program is largely taking data from the soil changes. How the soil changes, that means soil erosion we can talk about. In an area earlier you have agricultural area. Now because of, for example, in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, you talk about the western Uttar Pradesh, what we are seeing, desertification. How we have come to know that desertification is going on there? Data from Bhuvan satellite consists of information. That means now we will take major. Okay, we know that from where the sands are coming from Rajasthan, right? Sands are spreading where? Let us suppose to Uttar Pradesh, let us suppose to Punjab, Haryana and all that. What we can do? We can plant trees, we can create forest barrier here. If the forest barrier is created, what will happen? When the wind moves, they will not be able to carry sand beyond it, because wind velocity will reduce, sand will fall there itself. That means desertification can be limited, controlled here, stopped here. This is only possible if you have what? Information and data. That is provided to us by what? Bhuvan, okay, system that we have. Then National Remote Sensing Center. You have an ISRO, remote sensing satellites are launched, that is giving us information. Plus soil maps, okay, that you have giving us information about soil. Digital India Land Record Modernization Program is launched recently by Ministry of Agriculture. That means all the agricultural land people have, they should be digitally recorded. Till now or till few years back, what we have? Data was only, which kind of data? Non-digital data you have, and that is why comprehensive information is missing here, because some data is at block level, some data is at district level, right? States are not sharing data. At center level, you do not have synthesis and collation of data and all that. So that is why this program is launched. Plus smart cities GIS mapping also, because urbanization is something that is going on rapidly. So that is what we are doing here. Now these were the topics essentially. If you look at few of the questions, like that can be asked in prelims. So simple, related to the last topic itself, UNGGIM, which of the following statements is correct? 2 and 3. Okay, UCOSOC, it does not work under UNP. Who does it work under? We have discussed Economic and Social Council. Environment program is different. This is correct. This is also we have just discussed, second highest level forum meeting it had conducted, India had conducted. That is the second and third. Then which of the following factors contributed most significantly to the persistence of stubble burning in Punjab? What is the reason? B. Why farmers have to burn the stock? Because they want to get field ready for the next season. Which is next season? Wheat season. So you harvest the rice crop and you sow the wheat. So window is what? Very small. If suppose that the gap was of 5 months, theoretically if you imagine, by 5 months even if you leave the stock, it will itself decay and disintegrate. You do not have to burn it, because the window is so small, you have to remove the stock, and the only low economic way of removing the stock is what? Burning. So that is the major reason behind the stock burning. Third is Mullapariya Dam, that we have discussed often in news, during which during flood event, located across which river? Simple, it is given in the name itself. Okay, that is which river? Periya river. Okay. Then Delhi Declaration 2025, recently seen in news, is primarily associated with what? What does Delhi Declaration deals with? Climate finance and green energy transition. Okay. So many times there are so many declarations, that is why you have to revise it. Okay. Now you are able to answer it. Suppose that after 1 year what will happen? You will get confused. Okay. Because all of these can be valid topic. Okay. Valid areas. So that is about this. Now if you look at the importance again, which is the most important one, directly linked to your syllabus: agriculture, geography, environment and biodiversity, disaster management. Which is the topic? Stubble burning. So you have to focus on the concept learning plus regions, disaster management, environment and all that. Saranda forest we have discussed, simply area, geography, places in news perspective, that is from here how we have to prepare it. So pre-based facts can be asked from here. Mullapariya Dam, again basic information from P can be asked, where it is located, which state is operating it, it is a new dam or old dam and all that, right? Then in the disaster management you have talked about the flooding. So we talk about the flooding. In the year 2018 they asked question that discuss the regions behind the flooding in Chennai. Now suppose that similar question is asked, what is one of the region? It is the water supply from Mullapariya Dam because of heavy rainfall as such, right? Delhi Declaration, again not that much important, simply you have to keep in mind what kind of area it deals with, which is the organization responsible for this declaration, right? And then last is the UNGGIM, again very least important I can say, simply the full form, what kind of area it works in, you have to keep in mind here as such. Okay. So that is how we can describe the all 5 topics.